Welcome to Inspiring Discussions, episode 24. I'm your host, Ashley Janae, and I just want to thank God for blessing me to do another episode. And shout outs to all of the listeners for tuning in to today for this incredible episode where I'm going to discuss the importance of cherishing your birthday each year. You see it? And I also want to share some of my personal birthday memories. So let's get into it. So, about a month ago, I just celebrated my birthday. So, happy belated birthday to me. And also, happy belated birthday to some of you all who had a birthday that already passed. And happy birthday to anyone whose birthday is today. So, that means it's officially Virgo season. So, shout outs to all of the Virgos. And I can't forget to give a shout out to all of the Leos since I'm a Leo myself. So, and then the reason why I'm so grateful that I celebrated an extra year of life is because life is so precious and you can't take anything for granted, especially in the world that we live in today, with so much violence and so much hate that's going on, that's claiming some of the lives of innocent people. And it's so sad because now they won't be able to see another birthday. So, seeing stuff like that on the news and social media just really makes me look at life from a different perspective and makes me cherish birthdays and life even more. So seeing an extra life was definitely refreshing and something I was incredibly blessed to witness, because the older I get, it's not about birthday cake, even though I do love me some red velvet cake. I ain't gonna lie about that. But it's not about cards, balloons, gifts, gift cards. To me, it's just about being grateful for seeing another year of life and celebrating it in a positive way with just being with your family and friends. And like I had decided to go to Top Golf and out to eat. For those of you who haven't been to Top Golf yet, it's basically a semi-outside golf course where you rent an area to golf at, and then you swing and hit the ball from the inside, and the ball goes to the outside. So, I would definitely recommend going with either family or friends. And they also have food and drinks there that's decent. So, I would definitely recommend that. And then Top Golf is also a very family orientated spot to go to have some fun and a challenge, because some of them games will challenge you. So, that's what I like about it. And then I had decided to go out to eat with the family as well to this spot called Fat Rosie's that serves Mexican food, which was really good. And then it was my first time going, and I would definitely be back. I had some chicken tacos, I had chips and salsa, rice and beans, and street corn, which was the bomb. And then I decided to bring home some guacamole to eat with the chips, which was really good. So I would definitely recommend that spot to anyone who loves Mexican food, because you would definitely get your money's worth. But basically, family time is what I really look forward to, not just on my birthday, not just on birthdays, but in general. Because in my opinion, it's good to have that time to just reminisce, laugh, and create new memories that you won't forget. And another reason why I'm so grateful for another year of life is because I had four uncles who passed away before the age that I am now, which is 31. My first uncle passed in 1981 at just 10 or 11 years old. My second one passed in 1990 at 21. And the third one passed in 1998 at 24. And my last uncle passed in '04 at the age of 30. So, that really makes me look at life in a different way. And it makes me appreciate celebrating a birthday each year, and also cherishing another day that I'm blessed to see. Because in life, you just can't take anything for granted. And it's all about giving thanks for each day that you are blessed to witness. And that's why it's such a blessing to just celebrate 31 years of life. But, the moral behind this topic is just to be thankful for each birthday and that you are blessed to see. You don't want to never take anything for granted. Celebrate it in a positive way by giving thanks to God, by going out to eat, going to a concert. Let's see, what else can you do? You could go out of town and then go to a lounge to dance, maybe meet somebody, and maybe do some karaoke. Going to the bar to have a few drinks with your people. But I already know a few drinks for some of you all may turn into the whole bar. But it's all good, just as long as you have a designated driver with you, and as long as you don't drink too much where you have to go to the hospital to get your stomach pumped. Because I'm sure nobody wants to go through that, especially on their birthday. But most importantly, just have fun. Live life to the fullest. Do whatever it is you want to do, whether it's changing your career, starting a business, investing your money, moving to another state, learning a new skill that could turn into a hobby or maybe a passion. Trading in your current car for your dream car, but only if it makes sense for you to do so financially, or traveling to different states and countries just to do it because that's what life is all about. And most importantly, that's what cherishing the extra year of life is all about, because you still have a chance to do something with your life, and it's not too late to fulfill your purpose, to make your dreams come true. So overall, just give thanks to God for blessing you to see another year of life by allowing you to see and celebrate your birthday. So always cherish the extra year of life. So now I would like to discuss some birthday memories that I would never forget and that will always be memorable to me. So the first birthday I want to discuss is my 7th birthday that took place back in August of 2000. So I remember like yesterday, I had went to church with my auntie to go and get my birthday blessings. So after we left church, we had came back home, and once my auntie opened up the door, I just remember seeing my parents, my brother who had just made 3 years prior to my birthday, all of my friends, my cousins, and some people that my mom went to work with, and they had also bought their kids as well. So I'm like, okay, I'm so surprised by this because it's like I wasn't expecting that. And then that's when I got out of my church clothes and I had put on some regular clothes. And I believe I had put on a pink shirt with some blue jean shorts and some gym shoes. And then that's when my mom said, let's go and take a walk around the block. And I just remember being confused to asking my mom, why do we have to take a walk around the block? And she was like, we coming right back. And I was like, okay. So I remember us walking to the end of the block, and then we came back to the house. And when I opened up the door, and all I heard was surprise, and then someone threw some colorful confetti toward my way. And I remember everyone was laughing, and I remember being so surprised and about the situation. And it was also funny because this is my grandma took a picture of this moment, and I remember closing my eyes and flinching back because I wasn't expecting that, and I wasn't expecting confetti to be thrown toward my way. And then everybody was saying surprise in the picture too. So that was a cool moment to reminisce about. And then I remember having a mermaid piñata that got demolished right in front of me by my mom's friend at work. So I just remember me and the other kids and some of the adults going out the back door, and I think my mom or somebody else had tied the piñata up on the cable line that was outside, since there was not a tree branch that was available. And we had used the broom to hit it, and then we used the microphone stand to hit it as well. So I remember everyone was taking turns to hit it, and it seems like that piñata was never going to break open, no matter how hard we was hitting it. It just didn't seem it was going to break. So I remember one of the kids hitting it so hard that one starburst came out, and that was when we continued to take turns hitting it. And the piñata, of course, still wouldn't break. So that's when my mom's friend from her job decided to break it open. But instead of her using a broom, she used her hands to destroy it. She was beating the brakes out that piñata like it was like it was a heavy bag or something. And then all I remember was everyone said, dang, look what happened to the mermaid. That mermaid went from having a face to no face. and that's when all the candy came out, and me and the other kids ran underneath the piñata, grabbing as much candy as we can. And then everyone ran back in the house to eat their candy. And we eventually had cake and ice cream, but I don't remember what kind of cake I had. And I just remember having a blast that day because that was one of the best parties I ever had in my life. And the next birthday I want to talk about is my 9th birthday that took place back in August of 2002. So I remember going to Santa's Village that year with my dad, my stepmom, and my brother. And I just remember being so excited to go because my dad said it was going to be a lot of roller coasters. And back then, me and my brother and my dad were roller coaster fanatics back then. And all I remember us all wearing was matching outfits that consisted of blue jean shorts and a dark red shirt that had the American flags on it. So so that my dad had bought for everybody to wear that day. So I remember my dad picking me up from my mom's house, and I remember bringing my white Power Ranger with me because I knew my brother was going to have his red Power Ranger with him. And this was when Power Rangers was very popular back then, and I think almost every kid either had a Power Ranger or they had the video game because that's how popular it was. So once we made it to Santa's Village, I just remember seeing a steel roller coaster that had a lot of loops in it. And my dad was like, "You gonna ride that in a jokerly way?" And I was like, "Nope." Because at that time, I wasn't even tall enough. And my brother was definitely not tall enough. So we basically rode the kiddie rides, which consisted of bumper cars, cars that went around in a circle, the twirl of whirl or something. And it's just basically that ride that just go up and then it go around in a circle and many more. But that was the funniest, but what was the funniest moment of this trip was when my dad had took me and my bro over to the petting zoo to ride the horses that were there. So when we first got to the zoo, I noticed there was some goats that were in the area, and I just remember one of the goats started following me and my bro around. And it freaked us out because we were afraid of their horns. So we started running away from the ghosts, and then we had dropped our small heart pillows that we had won for playing the game. And my dad was like, "Why y'all running? Y'all dropping y'all pillows on the ground. They not gonna do nothing to y'all." But we was not trying to hear that because every time we run, the goat was running behind me and my bro. So my dad had to pick me up, and my stepmom had to pick my bro up. And then they walked us over to the horses because that's how terrified we was. And still to this day, I'm very uncomfortable being around goats. So once it was me and my bro's turn to ride the horses, I remember my dad saying, "Ashley, Jakari, look here." And he was taking our picture riding the horses, and he was using those yellow disposable Kodak cameras. And those cameras used to be the stuff before digital cameras came out. You know, my grandma had about 5 of those cameras, and I remember hearing that click sound, and you would see the flash, and then you would use your right thumb to turn the film over to take another picture. And my grandma would be like, "How much film do I have left?" And I would be like, "You got 5 more," because it would tell you 5 on top of the camera. And when the thing said 0, it was over with. And you had to go and take it to Walgreens to get it developed and get the pictures developed. And every time I would take a picture, and every time you would take a picture with your pet, their eyes would have those orange little dots on them. And I know because every time I took a picture of my dog Jalen, his eyes will always have those orange dots on them. And I remember going to Walgreens and my grandma to get them developed. And she would be like, "Come on, Ashley, we finna go get these pictures developed." So I knew what that meant. And I knew the pictures used to come in a yellow envelope with your name on it. And there were times when the pictures would come out too dark. And my grandma would say, "I don't like these black ass pictures. Now this don't make no damn sense." That was her though. I mean, she wanted things to be her way. But anyway, back to Santa's Village. So after we rode the horses, we decided to ride a fire truck where we had to put out the fire, put a fire out at this doghouse. So they had it to where 10 to 15 people would ride this one fire truck that already had individual fire hoses for everyone to put out the fire. So me, my bro, my dad, and stepmom decided to do it since it seemed fun. So I remember we was on the truck with other people, and the truck went around the park to go to the doghouse that was on fire. So once we got to the house, we was prepared to put out the fire. So instead of the water going out the hoses, the water sprayed on everyone that was on the truck, and everyone was like, "What the hell?" And I remember my dad instantly getting pissed and said, and then we all got off the truck too. And my dad said to the operator, "Man, what the hell was that? That was not supposed to happen to us." And the operator was like, "Well, I'm very sorry, and I really am." And it was so bad that my stepmom's hair got messed up after she had just got it done the day before the trip. She said, "Man, I just wasted money. I just got my hair done." So after that happened, we left the park since we were soaked and wet. And I don't think we've been back ever since that happened. But I remember my dad still talking about the situation while we were driving in the car. And then that was when we had went to Walmart like nothing ain't happened. Like nothing ever happened. So that's what made this birthday memorable and funny, because what my dad said after the water malfunction happened and how unexpected that situation was. But it was funny. It's funny now, but it wasn't funny back then. But other than that, we still had a lot of fun that day. Okay, now I want to talk about my 16th birthday that happened in August of 2009. So I remember this birthday like yesterday because I remember being extremely excited because I was going to be turning 18 2 years from now at that time. So I remember getting my outfit together the day before, and I had just got a new pair of shades to go along with the outfit, and I had planned on going to the bowling alley to celebrate. And I remember going bowling on a weekday because my parents was, and I remember going bowling on a weekday because my parents was at work, and my birthday fell on a weekday. So I had went with my auntie, my uncle, my cousin, my grandma, and my grandma's friend. So originally my grandma's friend was not supposed to go, but my auntie convinced me to ask him to go since he enjoyed doing going bowling, and he was a pro at it supposedly. So I told him about it, and then that was when he decided to go. And he had bought his own ball and everything ready to just have some fun. So when we got there, everyone had got their shoes and their balls, and we all shared one lane. So we were all taking turns and just having a good time getting strikes or spares until it was my grandma's friend turn to bowl. Now, mind you, he was beasting in the beginning, getting strikes left and right. But this time, something unexpected happened that was funny. So once he rolled the ball down the aisle, he decided to watch the ball roll down the aisle, but he decided to walk backwards toward the machine that brings the balls back to you to wait on his ball to come back. But he didn't realize how close he was to the machine, so he had tripped on the edge of it and fell backwards. And he fell so hard his cap came off his head. And even a guy that was bowling next to us said, "Oh my sir, are you okay?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm okay." And I remember walking over to give him his hat, and he looked, and the look that he had on his face was funny because he was embarrassed and shocked at the same time because he couldn't believe he had failed. His eyes had got big and everything. And I remember everyone was laughing, but they was laughing on the low so that way he wouldn't see it. And I went somewhere else to start laughing because that was funny as hell. And yes, if anyone is wondering was he okay, he was definitely okay. But I think he had took a break and then got back to it. And I remember telling my mom about it over the phone while she was at work, and I remember her laughing nonstop and wishing she could have been there to witness it. But man, all I saw was gym shoes in the air and that hat coming off his head. I was like, wow, I was like, wow, that will forever be a memorable moment. So now I want to talk about my 21st birthday that happened 10 years ago. Oh wow. So I had went I'm laughing already. So I had went to Alabama this year because that year I had went to Alabama that year because I do have family that's from Alabama and that still lives there. So I remember being so excited to go there because I knew I was about to have a good time. So the night of my birthday, my auntie that still lives in Alabama invited me to go with her and her friends to hang out. So I remember us meeting up together at my auntie's house, and we all got in her Kia Sorento, and I remember us blasting that song "Fight Night" by the Migos. And the first stop we made was going over to her friend's house to chill, talk, and have some drinks. So I remember having some drinks and talking and taking a lot of pictures. Then that's when we decided to go to this club or lounge to dance and really get lit. So I remember us sitting together at our table, and we kept ordering drinks left and right, left and right. And then that was when the DJ started jamming. And I remember this one guy that had walked over to our table, and he was fine as hell. I ain't gonna lie. And I remember him being nicely dressed, and he put me in the mood. He put me in the mind of Joe the singer. So I remember I couldn't stop looking at him. And I believe he said, "I heard somebody was celebrating a birthday today." And I started getting excited because I knew it was me he was referring to. And I said, "Yes, we celebrating my birthday tonight." And he was like, "Okay, Miss Lady, so do you want to dance?" And before I knew it, I was on the floor with him because I was not about to miss out on that opportunity. And I ain't gonna lie, I was really feeling him. Even though he did appear a little older, it was just something about him that I really liked. And of course, I did not want that moment to end because I was really having a great time with him. But the bad news was he didn't live in Chicago, but that was still a great moment. And then that's when the DJ said, "Shout outs to Ashley from Chicago for coming out to BA to celebrate her birthday." And BA means Birmingham, Alabama, because of course that's where my family is from and that's where we were at. And then someone had bought me a drink, and I was like, okay. And then I had some shots with my auntie and her friends, and then I had some more drinks. And at this point, I was gone, but that didn't stop me from being on that dance floor. And then I started dancing with another guy because I think the first guy I was feeling had left or he was at the bar doing something else. But I still had a good time with the other guy. And then I had to sit down for a little bit because my head started hurting, and I was a little dizzy. So then that's when I had to use the bathroom. So, and I was out of it too. And then I didn't even know where the toilet was at. And I know that sounds crazy. And I just remember going around in a circle trying to find a toilet. And then when I had finally realized where it was like the best feeling in the world because I could finally use the bathroom. And then when I came out the bathroom and sat back down, someone at that club said, "Hey, I see you and your friend was having a great time tonight." And he was referring to my auntie as being my friend. And I had forgot what I had said at this point because I was still lit. And then he said, "If you like, you and your friend could come to another party tonight." And I think he gave me his card, and another guy gave me his number, and he said, "Yeah, you could call me at any time." And I was like, "Okay," but I don't know if we ever talked to each other. And then that's when we left the club and we had went somewhere to go shoot. We had went somewhere else to go and shoot pool. And at this point, I was really lit because I could barely get out the car, and I was wobbling and moving slow. And one thing about drinking is it can make you impatient. Because I know it made me impatient. Because that's what happened to me. So once everyone got out the car, we started walking towards the spot, but we had to cross the street to get there. And while everyone was waiting until it was safe to cross, I tried to cross the street while a car was coming. And my auntie's like, wait a minute, what you doing? And I forgot what I said. and that's when we finally crossed the street when it was safe. And when we walked inside the place, all I wanted to do was go to sleep because that's how tired I was. So my auntie and her other friend ended up being the only ones shooting pool. And I remember sitting down with one of her other friends and we took a picture together. And in a way, I looked on the picture, you could tell I was gone and tired. Because my eyes can barely stay open and my smile was so lazy, it was just ridiculous. And then that's when it was time for us to finally go. And then my auntie, of course, was the designated driver, and I was staying at a hotel, and I believe I was staying at Days Inn with my mom that night, and she didn't go either. And then when I finally got out the car to walk in my room, man, I was so tired though. I ain't gonna lie, I was tired and gone that I was stumbling across the room, and I'm so glad my mom was asleep because I did not want her to see me like that. But I remember stomping and stumbling to the bathroom to take out my contacts. But everything else I kept on because I did not have the energy or strength to do so. And yes, I slept in my clothes and I did not tie my hair up. I said, man, the hell with this hair. And I did not take off my makeup. But when I woke up, I felt hella better. I ain't gonna lie. And my mom was like, somebody had a good time last night. And I was like, I sure did. But one mistake I did make, I ain't gonna lie, was I didn't eat nothing before I started drinking. And I had to learn the hard way to never do that again. Because you will feel strange and then you will really get drunk like that. But other than that, my 21st birthday will always be an epic moment for me because I was able to start drinking legally and I had a blast. And also shout outs to my auntie for saving me that time because if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't have got hit by that car. But other than that, I had a blast. Lastly, I want to talk about my 30th birthday that happened last year. So when I was 28, I decided I wanted to celebrate my 30th in Vegas because at that time I had never been. So before me, my mom, my dad, my stepmom, and sister went, my mom had broke her ankle, but she was still approved by her doctor to still go. So she just had to move her foot around. So at this point, I knew it was going to be a challenge because she had to wear a cast and she needed to have a scooter to get around. So the day of our trip was interesting because I had ordered me and my mom a Uber, but it had to be an Uber XL so we could fit our luggage and her scooter in the trunk. So once we made it to the airport, And after we had got done checking in, we went to the boarding area. And I noticed when we got to that area, the TV screen didn't say Las Vegas. It had another city posted on the TV. So I had asked the lady that was at the front desk, is this the boarding area for Vegas? And she said, oh no, honey, we moved it to another location. And we had made the announcement on the intercom. And at this point, I was so upset because it had already took me and my mom a while to get there because she was on her scooter. And everyone knows that the airport is so loud as hell, so we can't hear nothing on the intercom. And the lady was like, well, you all better hurry because the flight is going to leave in a few minutes. So, that was when that adrenaline had kicked in me. So I started running to get to the area because we had to go from section C all the way to section A. And my mom started moving her scooter as fast as she can. But I noticed she got out of my sight. So I had to run back and help her move the scooter quickly. But as I was helping her with the scooter, I noticed the scooter had got very wobbly to the point she could fall off at any time. So I'm like, damn, this is crazy. And then it's happening at the wrong time. So I remember me pulling the scooter and trying to run at the same time, but that was extremely hard because I had my book bag on my back and I had to hold a bag that belonged to my mom. And then she almost fell off the scooter. And she was like, oh no, wait a minute, shit now. and this person that was behind us said, oh no, are you okay? And that's when she decided to sit on the scooter, and I tried to pull it, but that wasn't working. So I told her to just put both your knees on the scooter again, and I would just have to pull a little slow. And at this point, we was almost there, and that's when I heard our names get announced on the intercom. So that's not a good thing because they noticed we didn't board the plane. So that's when I had to pull a little faster. And once we finally made it to the boarding area, we saw the flight attendant standing at the door. And I had never been so relieved and thankful in my life because we were so close to missing our flight. And I just remember thanking him for being patient because he did, in fact, tell us it was a last minute moving the boarding area to another area. So thankfully, me and my mom was able to sit close to one another at the tail of the plane because all of the seats were pretty much taken. And that flight had a lot of turbulence too. You would have thought you was on a ride at Six Flags Great America. But I was so relieved we had made it to Vegas and the airport there was so nice and full of casino games and restaurants. And my dad, my stepmom, and my sister was already there at the hotel, waiting on us to arrive. So once we made it to the hotel, we had to wait until checkout time, which was at 3 o'clock. And the hotel we stayed at was the Flamingo. And overall, it was a decent hotel. The only thing I didn't like was the fact that the Wi-Fi was not working there. And I tried to fix the problem over the phone, but it was nothing they can do. But overall, it was a decent hotel. And thankfully, I had unlimited data, so I was somewhat good. But the next time I go to Vegas, it would have to be in the spring or fall where it's not so hot because it was just so hot there. It got up to like around 103 or maybe 110 degrees. But thankfully, the places we had went to had great AC. But I gotta say, the funniest moment of this trip was when me and my mom decided to ride the Ferris wheel that was there. So I thought since the Ferris wheel was near our hotel, it wasn't going to be so difficult getting there. But that was not the case. So again, I was helping my mom to get around on her scooter to get there. And we had to go through these outdoor restaurants to get to the Ferris wheel. But it was a long way to get there. So we had to take a lot of breaks before we had got there. So 1 hour had passed and we still had some time to get there. And my mom had got so frustrated that she decided to sit down. And then she said, taking us a fucking hour to get there. Don't make no damn sense. So I tried to console her, to tell her we are almost there. So when we finally made it, we had to wait in line. And then we saw this lady trip and fall in front of us. And she spilled her coffee everywhere. And then she gonna look around and look back like somebody pushed her down. And then she slowly got back up and started checking her hands and legs to make sure she wasn't hurt. But after she left the area, me and my mom started laughing in a way. And in a way, I'm glad that did happen because my mom went from frustration to being herself again. And the lady was okay too. And when we finally boarded the wheel, I was kind of nervous because I knew how high we was going to be in the air. And I also learned that it's the tallest Ferris wheel in the US. So at least I could say I've been on it. But overall, I had a great time going to Vegas last year. And my mom, my dad, my stepmom, and my sister also had a great time as well. We got a chance to go to Hell's Kitchen. We went to the Hard Rock Cafe, which was my first time going to those restaurants, and many more spots. And then we went to some more hotels, and we went to the mall. And we had went to the same mall that Michael Jackson went to buy some pictures out of a store that was there. And we had went to fly over, which is like a virtual airplane ride. You would take through a city or through another country. So I would definitely recommend doing that. And for all of my Chicagoans, they do have one at Navy Pier that you could check out. And we also went to Michael Jackson Live, which was a fantastic show. And it was pretty much a show where they had a Michael Jackson impersonator performing all of his hits. And that person definitely did an amazing job. But overall, we definitely had a fantastic time being there, and I would definitely be back. So that's going to do it for Inspiring Discussions, episode 24. I would like to thank all of the listeners for tuning in and going down memory lane with me. And the message behind this episode is just to make sure you enjoy your birthday. Make sure you give thanks to God for blessing you to see another day and another birthday. And make sure to create wonderful memories as you celebrate it. And if anyone is interested, I still have merch on my website. And I will leave all that info in the box. And if anyone is interested in fly over, that info will be in the box as well. So again, thank you all so much. Please stay safe. Tune in for episode 25 that will be coming out soon. Stay safe and God bless you all.